That'll get it going. I'm traveling.
Okay, in case we just went live, all right? And in the middle of going live, Katrina's going, look.
It's the world.
To some guys, it is.
Just saying. I wore the work today. It's my travel shirt. I was going to do something else, but, well, the United States is not in the right place. We'll just leave it
I guess we're still young enough to talk about the G spot after last week's conversation.
Yeah. Like somebody said, do you really know what the G spot is? Well, I've had a kid, so I think I did figure out what the G spot was. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you tell him. My husband and I are still together. I guess I know where it is, and he does too.
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, we wouldn't be together anymore.
We know the G spot. Woohoo!
Just saying.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you did just get into the business G spot podcast, not the G spot.
Okay, so apparently it's midnight in Bali.
Wow.
Hi, Anita.
Bali or Bali?
Bali. I don't know how you say it.
Bali.
So she said, this girl, Anita Sonia, she actually said to me, we were talking on the phone one time. She said, well, I'm going to do a live summit someday from Bali. And I'm like, good for you. She says, you're coming to speak, right? I'm like, nope.
Not that far.
I'll speak virtually for you anytime.
Yeah.
So
anytime. But traveling sucks these days.
Yeah. I don't want to travel. And like I was talking with my mastermind about it last night. All right. When it comes down to my business, I looked at through the pandemic, I looked at what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. All right. Yeah. And the speaking business, not to say the speaking business isn't profitable, but the speaking business to me was not profitable. So I reduced that. Yeah, I reduced that aspect of my business. And I said, I'm not going to, dump, you know what I mean? There's only so long you can go, you sit at the slot machine and put quarters in until you realize there's nothing coming out.
Exactly.
Right? That's me. I get sick of putting $100 in and getting $10 back. I'm sorry.
It's a lot of work and it's a lot of money.
Business choice on my part. All right. Now, and our, we're both in Craig Dustwalt's mastermind. Craig rides me on this. And I said, Craig, I'm not going to do it anymore. And he goes, man. But another thing into it, Katrina, I'm sick in my life of being told, and since I've gone into this industry, oh yeah, but you're so good at it. If I was so freaking good at it, why the hell am I not making that much money at it? Right.
Yep.
In other words, my profit should be a lot better than what I'm making if I'm so good at it.
Good at it. Yep.
I agree. Right. And that makes me think of one of two things. Either A, you're lying. All right. Or B, all right.
You want me to sign up for your
I'm not that good at it.
Well,
which would mean that you're still lying.
Yeah. Well, what I've noticed is a lot of the events that I've gone to live now are a lot smaller. They're not nearly as big as they used to be.
Well, I won't do live. I won't do those large events. What I transitioned my entire business to do, I will do small events. I do U-shaped rooms, and I will not put more than 20 people in there. And I do it a mastermind / event. Now, and I mean, I was telling my mastermind about this last night. I said, this is just what I want to do because it's one of those things that it's an event I enjoy doing, and it's an event that doesn't stress me out.
No.
Well,
and I think more people get more out of it because you've got 20 people in a room that you're talking to as opposed to 500 or 1,000. And granted, they're getting something, but I think when you're in a big audience, this big, huge audience, the speakers are speaking at you instead of to you.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then of course, and I get it that then you've got a slew of speakers up there, and then of course they have their opportunity to do their sale in regards to their service or whatever the case may be. But I think if it's more intimate, I think people get more out of it and walk away saying, wow, that was so totally worth such and such. And at least that's my personal opinion on it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you got to put the right people in the room to be able to do this, all right, and then sell into my mastermind. But I changed my mastermind out. I actually was showing this out last night too. I wrote this. This is the design for my new mastermind revamp, wow. And I wrote this. All right, and it's very simple, right? You see, it all fits on one page, right? I wrote that in a Starbucks in Illinois. Right. I was like, I said to my wife, I'm going to Starbucks to enjoy to take 20 minutes off. And I sat down and wrote that. I didn't go there to write that. I just sat there. I was like, oh, yeah, this is what I want to do. So I rewrote it. So anyway.
I think masterminds, I mean, and speaking of masterminds, I have a little that irks me. I remember, do you remember reading Napoleon Hill?
I do.
What does Napoleon Hill say in there in regards to a mastermind?
That I don't remember.
He says that a mastermind is a group of collective business owners that get together and share ideas. And you don't charge for it because in his mindset, coaching you charge for, mastermind you don't charge for, because it's just a small group of people that you're learning and bouncing ideas off of. And actually now in today's society, if you want to be in a mastermind or coaching, of course, you have to pay for it. It's
a program that you.
It's a program now. It's not
called a mastermind. So mine is called the Inner Circle.
Not what it used to be.
Yeah.
So I remember for the longest time after reading that book, and I would get involved with a couple of people that were trying to pull masterminds together at that time before it was this big thing now. And they were charging. And I remember have you read Napoleon Hill? And I remember being upset over that because in his mind, in his book, he has a difference between coaching and mastermind. Coaching you pay for. Mastermind is just a collective group of very few people that you exchange ideas with. That's it. And
but you know, the idea behind the mastermind is the mastermind / coaching program. And you know what I mean? That's it, is you're putting in a collective group. I remember, you know, when early on, 10, 11 years ago, when I started to look into some of these things and watching who was doing what. And I remember James Malinchek, the first time I went to his conference, him offering the coaching program. And then later on, he offered if you can't afford the coaching program, you can be part of my mastermind. But the coaching program included the mastermind.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'm calling I'm not really calling it a mastermind. I'm calling it's my Inner Circle program. All right. It's a hybrid between coaching and mastermind.
Yeah. But I mean, when you talk to somebody about coaching and a mastermind, a lot of times when people are saying this is my mastermind, it's very similar to coaching. So how do you decipher any difference, if there is any difference?
No.
I mean, no.
This is the other thing that James Malinchek mentioned about a coaching program. A coaching program is, this is what I'm going to help you do. This is how much it costs.
Okay. And
I love that. To me, no, make it simple.
Yeah.
And that's what most people don't know. Here's what I'm going to help you do. Here's how much I'm going to charge you to do it.
Yeah.
Right. I've made 3 levels to my Inner Circle because of the fact I used to have just one Inner Circle. And then I wanted to offer, you know what I mean? Because it's not really a mastermind, it's a coaching program.
Yeah.
All right. But I'm basing it now on, on activity to stay in. So, the platinum, all right, after my platinum level, you must have a website and be on social media. At the end of year 2, you must have 100 pieces of content online, whether it's 100 podcasts, 100 blog posts, 100, right?
Whatever.
You've got to have 100. All right. That should be easy in 2 years' time to be able to create one a year and have a podcast, right?
Yeah.
A show. The reason I'm doing that is because I don't want people coming in there and they're not doing anything anymore. All right. I have a gold level where basically you can come in and just tap in and be like a mastermind, and very inexpensive. But the people who are actually going to take action are people I'm going to work with, and
Yeah.
that's you and I were talking before coming on here. What I learned in business over the years, I learned that one of the reasons why it's always been my business is I work 10 times harder than anybody else. And I have a problem when I employ someone is I want them to work as hard as me, and they don't. And
that's a whole other story in itself, because
Yeah.
I know that's a big issue that a lot of business owners are having a problem with. Businesses in general is finding people that are willing to work as hard as they do. They don't want to. It's like, look, my day's up at such and such. I did this. This is what my job is. I'm not going outside the box. Why should I?
Yeah.
And I remember when my mom raised me, she always said, if somebody comes up and says, do you know how to do this? You don't say no. You just say, I'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. I got it. I got it. I'll figure it out. And that's what I've always done. And so when you work with people that work within the box, they don't move any farther. They don't get anywhere. They don't make any more money than what they're making. And then they're the ones that are complaining about what's going on. I don't get it. I got this and I'm doing that. And I think that mindset is not there anymore. It used to be, but not so much. I mean, it's hard to find people that want to work or work hard.
Yeah, you're right. They don't, and that's why they're employees.
Yeah.
All right. And then, I'm actually writing out my scripts to do my content. One of the scripts I have from one of my content things is on the very concept of, are you comfortable? One of the reasons I moved to this house was to get uncomfortable again. I was comfortable. I really was comfortable in where I was.
Yeah.
And that made it very hard to be successful. And I was watching an interview with Jamie Foxx, the actor, and he was talking. Was it Jamie Foxx? I can't remember. I think it was Jamie Foxx, and he was talking about, like, he was talking with Eddie Murphy, and Eddie Murphy said he wants to go back into comedy. And Jamie Foxx said, well, Eddie, you're going to have to mess your house up. You're too neat, right? He says comedy comes from, like, all the crap you're going through. You make fun of it.
Yeah.
When you live in the perfect life, it's hard to find things to make fun of.
Exactly.
All right. And that's where we are in business. Is for me to grow in business, I needed to get uncomfortable again. It's why I got this house, with the fact that, I have to do the lawn every week. I have to, there's things like, I was walking around. Keith was here yesterday doing some work around here, and like little stuff that, like, I would have, taken forever to do. Keith took 6 hours to do something he thought was going to take 3, right? Because it turned out to be more of a headache. Well, that's it. When you're on a property like this, is, one thing's a headache after another. That's business. That's business in a nutshell right there. There's a bunch of shitty problems in the world, and you got to fix them.
Yep. Well, and that's why we made a huge move that was scary as hell. Yeah. We were in California, as you know. I was born and raised in California, and we were there, and we moved to New Mexico. We knew nobody. We bought a house out here, and people say, why'd you move? Just wanted a different move, wanted a different place, wanted something that was a different, because when you're in your second, we're kind of, at least I am in my second half of my life. I want that second half to be totally different. And the only way to do that is to really mix things up. So that's what we did.
Interesting. So. Well, but there's business lessons in that. And I know, I think that's what it's become in our world. And I think the pandemic was a good wake up call for us all.
I agree.
The fact that we built a world to where we get comfortable in it.
It was nice and neat.
Yeah, we built this nice little comfort zones. And when we get to those comfort zones, You know what I mean? We want to stay into them, right? And then
Yeah, we don't.
we don't. And that's that. If you watch, almost everybody when they do that, their business gets to a certain circle, and that's the
It
comfort zone, and they never grow past that
stays there.
because they got comfortable.
Yeah, I agree. But but the hard part too is when you're uncomfortable, you're not sure, are you taking the right risks when you're uncomfortable? But that's part of it. You've got to figure out what those right risks are or aren't. In order to do that, you just got to do it. That's the hardest part. Is a lot of people are, but what of this and what about that and what about, just got to do it.
No.
That's hard.
And I mean, I know you're not, you're not a fan, but to me, going back, I heard this in a speech in 2004 or 2005. I heard Donald Trump speak long before he was president, way before this, and he talked about the very concept of, he said he was never going to retire. And he talked about this guy he knew who retired. And then the guy 4 years later, was bored, tried to come back, and he never could get his business started again. And Donald Trump said, I will never retire. He says, because of the fact when you retire, it becomes very hard to restart, and you lose that energy that's about you, right? That makes you who you are.
Yeah, I agree.
And I get, a lot of people don't like him, but like, if you think about that, that's what drove that man to keep being successful in business, or to keep going in business. And I remember, another part of that speech that he gave was the story of the times that he went through hard times, right? When he had like 1 million businesses going, and businesses were failing, and he was trying to find a deal. And I think that was before he wrote the book, The Art of the Deal. And he talked about, I can't remember which wife he was with at the time, but he was with a wife. They're on their way to a gala. And he sees this homeless man, and he points to the homeless man and says, that man's better off than me. And his wife went, what? And he said, yeah, he's at zero. I'm 93 million below zero at this point in time. And that, to grasp that as a concept, because we look at him and we all think rich Donald Trump, but we don't understand that so many business people are in that exact same shoes where, when it's ups and downs, and he was just in a down cycle where a lot of things were valued less, but he didn't quit. And he was look at a homeless guy and go, that guy's better off because he's at zero. I'm 90 million below zero, in debt. That's a concept most people don't get with business. Is one day you can have everything going great, and the next day it could be going to shit and a hell in a handbasket real fast. And it's those points when you're down. It's the people who never become successful, is they give up when they're down. When they're under, they give up, right? And they go, well, this is just too hard. I'm going to take a break. And then they come back and try to start again, and they can't.
I think it depends on what. I think it depends on what life throws at you too, because I know that when I started, we talked about this, when I first started my business in 2007, we had the recession. I didn't know we were going to have a recession, but we had a recession. So managed to just limp along and start getting the business going. It just started making money. And then my mom moved in because she had dementia. So then for 5.5 years caring for her, my business started going down as her care increased. So I had to start all over again. But I think when you have to start all over again based on those things, you have enough knowledge from before that now that I'm building bigger and better, much quicker than I did before. Yeah. Because of lessons that I've gone through and learned. But I think the biggest thing that business owners don't do that I've done is they don't spend money on themselves. They always say, oh, I wish I could do that, but I just don't know if I can manage, or, oh, I wish I could do that. I've been stretching myself in regards to finances so that way I can get those things in place. That's helped me grow, and the money's just been coming.
Well, when you have a business, or you have anything that you have with an objective you're trying to accomplish, all right, everything you do needs to be compared to your objective. What are you trying to accomplish? Yeah. So, for instance, all right, I want to go on vacation and hang out, but vacation and hang out is $7,000. All right. In the meantime, there is a new tool that I need to make my business work that costs $4,000, and I'm trying to save up to get it. So I spent $7,000 on vacation, but I won't spend $4,000 on the tool that will make my job easier, all right, and make me more money.
Yeah.
That's the world we have, where people think, and I've always loved, we had a discussion one time, and I think I know you've met Bill Wallace. I think you've met, which is here in Dallas, which I introduced Craig and everybody to, is Bill Wallace and I were on a panel one time. This is long before I knew Bill. We're on a panel. It's the night I actually started talking to him. We're on this panel together, and someone asked the question, and they goes, what's your opinion of work-life balance? And a panel of 5 people who did not know each other said, all of us, like one by one, all said, sounds to me like somebody who hates their business. Sounds to me like somebody who doesn't care about what their job is. Sounds to me like somebody, it's every one of us was like along, like it's the dumbest thing in the world to focus on. If you're a business owner and you're worried about work-life balance, well, dude, why the hell are you in business? Right? Because every one of us were like, if you're in business, you're all in. You're not, well, I'm in, but I still want some. No, you're all in. All right. And that means sacrifices. That's and even like us in this house is sacrifices. I set this house up to what I would call rental standards to live in for about 2 years. It's not bad, right? But it's not the luxury level that I was living in the condo. The reason I'm doing that is to build my business and not build my comfort level, right? That sacrifice in different areas helps build character in you. That I can always get what I want doesn't build character, because there's there's nothing you're going to strive for. Pretty soon you're going to lose drive because you have nothing that you're trying to achieve.
So let me ask you that, with that question or that comment you've made, how do you think business owners that are making millions and billions of dollars, they're all, for the most part, they're comfortable to a certain degree because they can surround themselves with nice things. But I know that I've read there's a difference between, there's those that are still spend, trying to compete with the Joneses. And then there's those that are putting their money away and they're not living in these big luxury, even they're not. They're working on investments, or they're working on making their money work harder for them, or they're working on the next business venture, or they're working on talking to this industry or that industry, or getting involved over here or getting involved over there. So I think there's a lot of times when people when they say the top 1%, I think there's a difference between that top 1%. Mm-hmm. There's those that are working hard and getting and making their money, like I said, working for them and so forth, but they're not spending it like that other top percent, where all they're doing is buying the luxury boat, the luxury cars, the luxury this, the luxury that, and so on and so forth. Well,
you say that, the first thing that comes to mind, all right, I'm not a fan of Grant Cardone, but I heard Grant Cardone say, I don't have money in the bank. You know what I mean? In other words, if I have money, that's money that needs to be invested into something. I need to have income coming in, not money sitting. Right. And I think that's what we all think about. And I mean, I was raised on this. You need to save your money. You need to save your money. No, you need to invest your money.
Yeah.
Right.
So make more money.
Yeah. That's what the wealthy do. They invest their money so it comes in and you know what I mean, to bring them more income without them working, as opposed to the people who will buy the toys as opposed to the assets. Yeah. All right. And that goes into the Robert Kiyosaki thing. You know what I mean? That's, you're doing certain things at certain levels. Well, the average ultra rich person, they still, yes, they get to go probably eat, $90 steak dinners, but they don't drive the brand new cars. Like I have a friend who's literally, he's in real estate, and I'll bet you he's worth about $15 to $20 million. I can't think that he's ever bought a brand new car. Still.
Yeah.
He buys cars that are 2-3 years old, right? He's still got his old truck. All right. He doesn't, he still wears t-shirts he buys at Walmart. You know what I mean? He's not a guy who goes out and flaunts the fact that he's rich.
No.
However, when he wants to go out to dinner, okay, where are we going? You know what I mean? He doesn't have to question where he's going to dinner, but his luxuries are not spent on the fact that, well, I need to have such and such kind of house. I joke about it all the time that I downgraded to the Mercedes from the truck because the truck was too expensive to buy another truck, right? I'd love to have another truck, but the truck is the truck to me was a image thing, right? It was the big cool in Texas. Yeah, you gotta have that big old truck, right? Yeah.
In New Mexico too, everybody's got trucks. Truck.
So, but I mean, the idea behind it is I joke about it. It was a downgrade. My Mercedes is a average Mercedes. Like, it's not the high end one, right? You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? I had a high end Dodge truck. I really had a high end Dodge truck. It was not just another pickup. No, I had a high end freaking pickup. You seen it, didn't you? When you were here.
I don't know if I did.
Yeah. I mean, I've driven that freaking truck. I drove that truck across country. I had it on both coasts. I
think in general, though, I think the public in general, the masses, are looking at the wrong group to emulate. I think they're looking at sometimes they're looking at the group that spend instead of the groups that are like the Bill Gates and the Warren Buffett, where they're looking at their funds and how they can make a difference.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got this much money. What can I do to make the biggest difference in the world with this much money? Okay, let's put it over here and do this. Okay, now what else can we do? So they're not only entrepreneurs, they become philanthropists.
Yeah.
So that now they're giving back. And I think a lot of times in general, we look at these things and we look at the people that are at the 1% and they say, oh, I could get the car and the girl, and I could get the guy, and I could get the house, and I can get blah, blah, blah. And they're looking at the stuff.
I can get all this.
Yeah. Get all of this. You get beautified.
No. Earlier, beautified. All this.
All the world. You get all of this. The world. I'm wearing the world. I'm just saying, I think that in general, 90% of us are concentrating on the wrong thing when it comes to
we are
finances. We're thinking of things when that's not what it's about. It's about how are you making a difference in the world and what can you do to make that difference? Even if it's a tiny little thing, going to the soup kitchen and helping out there, or going and buying McDonald's. There's a guy that buys McDonald's for 8 people, and then he goes out to the homeless and he hands it to 8 different people. Then he goes the next week and he buys 8 more meals, and he goes and he hands it to a couple of other people. He's making a difference. It's just what are you willing? And I think that's the biggest thing, is what are you willing to do to make that difference? Or are you too much in your comfort zone that you're like, no, I don't want, no, I'm good right here. I'm just going to stay here and make some money and look at those people up on the hill and say, one of these days I'm going to have that.
I had a boss that I worked for, and it was an interesting guy. It was when I left Starbucks. All right, it was working for this one company that these people kind of walked into Starbucks and recruited me out of Starbucks because they liked me.
Wait, somebody liked you, Tim?
Believe it or not, I've had one or two in my day.
I'm sorry, I had to go there. We all loved him.
Anyway, that boss, all right, he actually, he grew up Christian faith just like I did. And he said, I don't believe in the concept, which is mentioned in Christian faith, and it's mentioned in other religions too, is tithing. He says, I don't believe in tithing. And I said, what do you mean by that? He says, tithing is I separate what I have, all right, and I give a certain percentage up front, which is like the 10%, right?
Yeah.
He says, I believe in giving. I like the concept, and I know it's not mentioned. It's kind of mentioned in the Bible, and it's not when it comes to tithing. Never know what the right hand's doing.
What the
Left hand know what the right hand's doing. And he
yeah.
says, I believe in being a giving person. And he says, that means I'm always giving. It's not, I mean, so many people focus on the tithe and they focus on money. We focus on success. We focus on money, right?
And the things that money buys.
That they buy. I focus on giving. All right. And like you just joked about, in fact, people like me. All right. I walk into the Starbucks that I've been going to for less than a month, and every morning they love talking to me. Why? Because I came in and started asking about them.
Yeah.
So tell me about you. Tell me about, you know what I mean? And making a conversation with them. So they remember me every morning when I come in because of the fact that I went in and I was giving to them. Right. And so often we miss this when we're we're going to a networking function and we're trying to get business, not understanding, just go to business, just go there and talk to people.
Yeah.
The reason that I am known throughout Craig's world is this. And I mean, when I used to work the doors, I remember when Tony took over and she wanted me not to work the doors. I'm like, no, Tony, that's my magic spot. I love working the doors. All right. And I used to tell the story when I first came, the very first time it was at the Sheraton at LAX, and they had the two doors. All right. One door was the VIP and rock stars, and the other one was the general entry. Right. And back then he was a little more, back before people like me ran it, he was a little more decisive in making people get in line. Right. Or the staff who did it made people get more in line. So I'm in line in the regular thing because I couldn't afford VIP. And all I knew was I didn't know anybody there, and I was uncomfortable. So what did I do is I put my briefcase down and I said to the guy, I got there every day. I was the first person in line. As the line grew, I would walk down the line, just shake people's hands. Say, hi, I'm Tim from the front of the line. I just want to say hi to you. And no objective, no, just hi. Second day, I was getting high fives. Third day, I'm getting hugs. All right. Fourth day, people are doing it with me. All right. I actually went about it by just, hey, let me just introduce myself to people and say hi. That's it. There was no, let me say hi with the objective of, well, what can I get from you, Katrina? It was, hi. How you doing, Katrina?
I think that's what a lot of business owners miss, especially when it comes to their content and their websites. And I talked about this on my shorts on Facebook and a couple other things, but we are so into making sure, I got to make sure they know that I've got this accolade and I've got this award and I've done this and I've gotten this certification and I've done that. So they know I really know what I'm talking about. They don't care. It's the WIIFM. What's in it for me? Yeah. That's all they care about. And and when people, and sometimes I'll get into arguments with clients and say, I'm telling you right now, they don't care. I refuse to put a website together that's based on all about your accolades because you're not going to get any success with this website at all. In fact, Google is starting to change their algorithm. And if your content is not geared towards your audience, you're going to go lower down on the line in regards to search. And I've talked to this, and because so many people.
But how does Google know who my audience is?
Because they go in and they see what your industry is, and they look at all the other websites out there. And the thing is people have also been peppering keywords in there. They've been doing this a lot, where they've been bloating keywords that have nothing to do with their industry just because it's a keyword. But they're looking at certain things in regards to your audience, your industry, and what your industry is pushing out there in regards to being helpful in the content. And they're now looking at that in the algorithms. And if your content is not geared towards your audience, in other words, it's not helpful or talking to your audience, you're going to go farther down the line. As well as the keywords. The keywords are a big thing because a lot of people have been peppering keywords throughout their website. Some of them are geared towards the industry and some of them aren't. So they're looking at industry what other websites they're doing with the industry and what they're pushing out there in regards to content that's helpful for the audience, as opposed to just talking about you and your accolades and so on and so forth.
Okay.
It's a new, they're trying to change the algorithm, because they're realizing there's still a lot of websites out there that are not talking to their audience, and they're talking above their audience just to try and get the best SEO. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
But that's an SEO game that I've watched people play for years, and I've never played it. So,
well, and it's not, I don't play the algorithms either, because I tell people, as long as you're writing content that's to your audience, it doesn't matter what the algorithms are. They're going to naturally start to put you towards the top, because people are going to start to look at your website. People are going to start to be more in contact with you, because you're talking about their pain points. You're talking to your audience, not above them. And that's what they're looking at. And
remember, you don't remember when I used to do my blogging presentation, I used to talk about SEO. And I used to say, well, hey, what does SEO stand for? And the whole audience would say, search engine optimization. And then I would actually put my next slide shows S, which was some, E, extraterrestrial, O is outside. And John Limbacher said, you realize how close that is to what SEO really is supposed to be?
Yeah.
But now, all right, I like to use SEM. What does SEM stand for?
Not sure.
Simple, easy marketing.
Mm-hmm.
But in the world out there of computer terms, it's supposed to be search engine marketing.
Mm-hmm.
I call it simple, easy marketing.
Yeah. Well, and that's the biggest thing too, that people make mistakes, is they try and make it more than it really is.
That's it. I remember, you remember HEP. You remember HEP from Craig's Mastermind. I can't tell you how many times I was there the time that HEP was trying to explain something in her thing, and Adam Ace was there. And Adam Ace goes, HEP, I'm an idiot. I'm stupid. Explain it to me on a third grade level, because that's about as far as I am in education. And that was like an eye opener for HEP, because she didn't know how to explain things that a third grader could understand. And that was hard. If you know HEP, she's a very, 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 very wise. I've sought her out for medical advice. She is that wise on your body and how to take care of your body. That's where her wisdom is. All right. She has a hard time relating that to a guy who does not understand those terms.
Yeah. Well, and that's a big thing too, that a lot of people do, is they put their acronyms on there.
Yeah.
People don't understand the industry acronyms, and they're just sitting there going, okay. Even today, if you tell somebody SEO, they'll still look at you inquisitively and say, SEO, what does that mean? I'm not sure. Well, it's search engine optimization. Still don't know what that means. What do you mean, search engine optimization? What are search engines? Okay, search engines are, okay, that's okay, I got that, but what is the optimization? What does that have to do with me? It's like, you have, like he said, you have to explain it in third grade terms, so that way people can now, and that was an interesting thing. I remember in school, we had to explain how to make a peanut butter sandwich step by step, and to the point that then somebody had to take your instructions and make that peanut butter sandwich based on your instructions. And it made us realize how badly our instructions were written. Take the piece of bread. Okay, I got the piece of bread. Take the peanut butter. Okay, and take the knife. I don't have enough hands for the knife. To do it literally. And when you do that is when you realize how either well your content is written or how badly it is written.
Well, you weren't at Craig's event in July where I shared the greatest, I call it the greatest piece of the greatest example of content out there.
No.
All right. It was called How to Wash Your Cat.
Oh yeah, you were telling me.
Craig's like, I want that. So like he put it on his website, gave me credit for it. But I'm like, dude, it is a step-by-step guide, but it is funny as hell the whole way, right? But it is a step-by-step guide, and it does walk you through a process that if you did the step before it's processed, the next step is going to happen.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, it's funny, but really it's true. Some people don't understand that when you walk people through one step at a time, you can do it. There's another concept out there in content. I heard Frank Kern say it too, is you break your content into your main points and your sub information. And he said your main points, people should be able to read your article's main points and get the gist of what they're going to learn.
For the
just by going from one main point to another without reading the information.
Yeah.
And that's how I read content. So if you got main points, I'm going to go through your main points first. Then I'm going to go back and see which ones I want to go through and learn. That is, I'm learning it myself how to write that well. I'm not that good at writing. Like, you know what I mean? That's why I study a lot of these copywriters to learn better. So.
Well, and they say too, when you're going through and you're writing your content, and this is what we do for our clients too, is you bold those pieces that you want to pop up that are your main points. And so that when because a lot of people are scanners and they're going to scan through and get the gist of what you're trying to say. And then they're going to decide, okay, is this right for me? Is it? If it is, okay, I'm going to check into it more, or no, moving on.
Yeah, I actually am good at writing outlines. I have a ton of outlines because I can put the outline together to do things. It's then putting the description in between. Yeah. I have an outline, all right, and it's these things here. So it's all part of the package that I'm putting together for the Simple Easy Marketing. Is basically, I think I'm going to end up calling it the Simple Easy Guide to Life. It's a personal growth in 90 days, changing your life in 90 days, one step at a time by changing different things. I have the outline done. I originally wrote the outline because of the fact that I was going to call it, what was I going to call it? Oh, I was going to call it, you know what I mean? You don't need a life coach, how to fix your own damn life in 90 days. But I think it's going to be called the Simple Easy Guide to Life, how to fix your own damn life in 90, how to fix your own life in 90 days. Because I really wanted to use that title. You don't need a life coach. And actually some people said that's good, some is bad. But that's one of them. The second one I have is the 52-week marketing plan. And there's one thing, you do one little thing every week in marketing online, all right, and it'll grow your business. And it's designed to be, and I actually had that out to where I was putting it out piece by piece in an email with a paragraph and stuff to my inner circle members. And I stopped doing it. But I have the outline written. I've had the outline written for years on what to do. And every now and then I tweak it. So.
Well, and that's just like with any marketing, the more you get out there and the more consistent you are, the more people are going to start to build. Because I know when I've been doing for the longest time, remember we were talking about it, I was fighting going on camera and doing Facebook and any of that, because as a woman, first thing you think of is I got to do my hair, I got to do my makeup, and oh, I flubbed up here or I flubbed up there. And so get a little closer. We want to see.
Hold on. No. This is.
We want to see the pores.
Wait a minute.
Excuse me.
This is the new toy that I have in the camera. So.
Oh my God. Tim and
remember though, I have the other camera over here.
Tim and his two toys.
I've actually, so you guys don't know that you know, I've known this for setting my computer up. I have 3 screens, right? If I could get another computer and have it on a TV on the wall, I would.
Oh, well, when I get into my new office at the house, I'm going to have a big 55-inch screen so I can do videos and so on and so forth. And then I'm going to have 2 screens on my desk. And then I'm going to get another camera so I have a couple angles as well. And I'm going to have it all laid out. You're going to help me. You're going to help me.
Am I really?
Yes. I'm going to be your, you're going to help me pull it together. And then I'll be your example of what to do. Or maybe what not to do. I don't know. We'll see. This is what you want to do. This is what you don't want to do.
Well, I have, like, I'm setting an office up, and I actually have the desk right now as it was the wall, but I'm thinking of pulling it back a couple feet so I can put lighting and I can mess things up on the wall behind me. but it'll look odd. It's really look odd from the perspective of how the office looks. I really should.
Somebody walks in.
I really should put the desk almost back to the wall and have the space open in front of me is what I should do. That's what I did at the other office, but I still don't know.
Well, you're figuring it out. It's a brand new house. Figure it out when it's new. You figure out what's working, what's not working, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But
the first thing I did here that helps this room was these curtains.
To take out
well, it cuts down on the noise coming from the street, but also I can cut the light out if I have to.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Well, I know in my new office, I'm going to have a window that's going to be facing right at me. So I'll have a lot of natural light.
Yeah.
So hopefully I won't need the ring light too much because unfortunately when you wear glasses, you see the rings in the.
You see the ring light, yeah. I wanted to have my desk face the wall, but the fact is what's behind me.
Yeah. Fun times. Well, here there's an idea. You could do a schematic. The best way to put your office or set your office up for podcasting.
Yeah. I've always set my offices up based on what's behind me.
Yeah.
Not what's in front of me. I can change the lighting coming in, but I can't change what's behind me.
Speaking of what's behind,
yeah,
it seems like I'm gonna sneeze again. It seems like a lot of podcasters, when they put up their backgrounds, some of them are quite interesting. There's a couple of podcasters that I watch. One guy, it looks like he's got a fake fireplace behind him, a faux pas fireplace, and then he's got these little knick-knack paddywhacks on top of the fireplace and nothing else. The wall's just like blank. Another guy's got, which I notice a lot of them do, it's a bookcase filled with books. And instead of watching them, you're looking at all the books. I wonder what kind of books he's got on his. I think people don't realize that takes away from the image, and people have ADHD when it comes to or ADD when it comes to seeing people online and doing podcasts. They're too busy looking at, what's that in the background that Tim's got on his bookcase? He's got books, but I can't see. And it looks like, so you're paying more attention to the background than you are the person.
That's right.
So as you can see, I'm not set up that way, but I don't have a lot in my background.
I was looking on this app to see if I have ways to change my background, and I don't know if it is all I do.
I don't know. And that's the one thing I know that I like better with Zoom is you can do those really cool backgrounds so you can't see this. But I've worked with a couple of software with StreamYard, and they don't seem to work too well. I haven't been able to get them to work. They're all funky.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. So you have to really be in, and it was funny because when you were talking about COVID and so forth and how it's changed things, it's definitely changed how people have been going on Zoom and so forth, because I don't know if you noticed or not, but when you watch some of the newscasters that were doing virtual, there would be laundry because they'd be in their bedroom, there'd be laundry on the bed. It was like, come on, guys. Really?
Yeah.
So it's definitely been I agree with you in regards to going back to the COVID comment. I think it's really changed things up, not only how businesses are run, but how we manage things in regards to business, in regards to events, in regards to meeting with clients, because I used to meet with clients face to face. That took a lot of time out of the office. And now I do it via Zoom. And it's not that I don't want to meet people face to face. It's just, I don't think people realize, when you've got 3 appointments to meet somebody face to face, that's your day and you've got nothing done.
Very true.
That's your day.
No.
It's done, and it's done. So I think because
I forget which day it was this week. I think it was. I had to run down. I think I did it on Tuesday, where I basically had to run down to Plano, and it was 4 hours out of my day to run down and do a couple errands.
Because Plano is what, about an hour away from you? No,
Plano's 30 minutes.
30 minutes. That's right. Because Tony's not too far from Plano, right?
Oh, same thing. Tony, just different angles. Tony has quicker. I think she has quicker access to the tollway than I do.
Yeah.
I don't have to get to Plano. I don't have access to a highway quick. So
Oh,
I could get down there if I took the highway. I could go down and take this one main road over to the highway, and then shoot down. All right, and grab the tollways over and get there faster. But
so do you feel like are you starting to see the difference in regards to the migration to Texas?
yes, I've seen it for years. I've watched this place grow for years, and watching people come here. All right, and I'm watching the political ads right now because we have a governor's race, and the political ads are just hilarious as hell. All right, you've got for either side. First of all right, you know, for the reason people are coming to Texas is business. Number one, there's businesses are moving here.
And the
That's
taxes,
why, right?
the taxes too.
And taxes, yes. And the reason that is because of the leaders we've had in Texas have kept it that way, have made it a business friendly state, right? And the only thing that the you know, the, shall we say, the not incumbent party can run on is, well, your schools aren't that great. Well, the schools aren't that great because of the fact that we brought everybody in from other states to try to educate them. That's why our schools have dropped. It's because we got students from 36 other states who don't know how to read and write, and we're trying to fix that. All right, but that's his main poll is like, you know what I mean? Well, this is why education is down, so we need to replace the governor so we can fix education. I'm like, yeah, but the reason we have the reason the governor is that we have so many people moving here is because the governor made business plans for people to move here. And the reason our education's down is because we're getting the dumbest of people here who have to now go get, you know what I mean? We have to educate them. Other states are the ones that did it. It's just they all moved here.
Yeah.
Because they could get work here. You know, their parents could get work here.
And it's interesting when you look at if you look at education across the United States, it's dismal.
It is. To me, the education system in America is horrible. All right. And for instance, like one of my friends is real estate. His 16-year-old son, they pulled him out of school this year and decided to homeschool him. This kid owns, I want to say like 12 or 15 doors of multifamily real estate. He's 16 years old. He started buying houses, learning from his dad, who buys houses and rents them out at 12.
Yeah.
He's going to be in our networking group. He is going to be the leader in it because he basically said, you know what? I'm not going to go to school to learn. I know how to read and write, but they don't teach me. Now I'm at the phase where they need to teach me how to make money and become successful in business. And they can't teach me that at school. And that's one thing our schools are not doing.
No.
All right. I remember taking classes on how to balance your checkbook. For crying out loud.
We took business classes, typing
how to
classes,
balance your checkbook, how to cook. I mean,
how to fill out an application, how to cook, how to clean a house. I mean, we got all of that, and they don't have that in school.
They don't. No.
It's and now, I mean, from what I've seen in some of the school systems, they're training them or teaching them to just pass a test. That's it. And they're not really teaching them. Does that make sense? So they're not really learning. But I personally think that if we don't take care of that now, we're going to have a hard time later down the road. A hard time.
It's one of the reasons why I'm against public education. I think people should go with more private education. I remember the church that I used to go to had a school into it. And they were, from a young age, they were teaching these kids how to be able to present at, do presentations in front of the class. And one of the reasons why they taught them, I remember as kids, we had to do our project and we had to present it in front of the class.
Yeah.
They were teaching these kids this. And if kids had a problem with self-esteem getting in front of people, they pulled them aside and they had a whole other education to get them ready to go back up in front of the class. And they said they do that because of the fact they're creating leaders. They're not in the business of educating people. They're in the business of creating leaders.
Yeah.
Right. The kids who leave that school are more successful in life.
Well, and they say that kids that are in either charter schools or that are homeschooled are much smarter than those
than your public education
system. That we're not helping our kids in that respect. I mean, as parents, we try and help our kids and educate them in a different way, but we're not there 24/7. Or I think that's going to be the difference between us and the rest of the world, is how educated are we educating, or how well are we educating our kids so that they can be leaders instead of followers.
Yeah, exactly.
Got a lot of sheep, but not a lot of
yeah.
I'm just saying.
So in the next week, this is some stuff I'm working on. Maybe tell me what you're going to work on next week. Last week, remember we were talking last week, I told you I was going to switch my websites over. I did everything over to SiteGround.
Isn't it awesome?
Yeah, everything. Well, I mean, to me, it's everything functions. That's my biggest thing. But I was able to get my email set up, my email working, all my email addresses, and pull everything out, and my HostGator account. I forget what day it ended, but basically I sent a letter and said I'm done. I'm not going to do it anymore. Everything's out of there, so I really don't need to go in there to change everything. So I don't care. So that was my goal. I did that in 48 hours from when you and I talked. Within 48 hours, I had everything set up right.
Yep.
Right.
That's what I love about SiteGround. It's one of the easiest to manage, and on top of that, they have one of the top security, and they because when you're working with hosting companies, they have big servers that you're sharing with a bunch of other business owners. They only allow a certain amount on those servers, and then they bring on another server, and so that way it doesn't go down. I've never, knock on wood, I've never had a website go down with SiteGround. I've never had a website hacked or anything when it's with SiteGround. GoDaddy I have, HostGator I have. All those other ones, they've all had issues.
All right. Well, I mentioned that because I set a task and I did it. So the point is, I mentioned it on our show this week, so I know that I hold myself accountable. And that is, I'm going to start bringing back my. I used to call it the Simple Easy Marketing Podcast. I'm going to start bringing back my Simple Easy Podcast with a 10-minute life/business tip of the day. Right. I went in and I was looking as I was cleaning up. Part of my things that I'm also writing is my check. I'm updating my checklists, right? I have all these little handwritten notes to make it more adaptive to the new house. And one of the things I noticed while looking through and cleaning up my office is one of the things that I had to do yesterday is I realized that that podcast that I stopped doing a year and a half ago, all right, has ad money sitting into it that I need to go cash in. Because so many people are still downloading that as episodes. Like, give the people what they want.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree.
But I'm going to start doing as I'm going to start planning out my week and content so that I can tell my newsletter. Oh, by the way, since you're on the newsletter, this is what's going to come this week, right? And making people want to do. I'm also trying to streamline so that my newsletter fits my podcast, fits my, you know what I mean? Trying to get everything in line and make my whole world work better. And this is what kind of came from getting uncomfortable. Yeah.
Well, and I've been doing the Facebook videos online.
Yeah.
Originally, when I started doing them, I had about 38, 39 views. Now they've doubled, and I'm getting about 65 to almost 70 views. And I've only been doing it for about a month.
Yeah.
So it does work.
It's one of the other reasons why I'm going to go back and do it, because I broadcast it live every day. All right. And then I upload it to audio within 48 hours. So, and I'm going to do, I think I'm going to do 365 days straight, one every day. I think it's been a long time since I've done that. I'm going to do it every day for a year type thing. And I think something like that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to set myself a challenge again. So
that's a good challenge.
it is. So, I can't help but think, how many times I've actually set myself challenges and it's changed the course of what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And in October, I'm going to get the Tim Gillette show back up and going and interview people. And I realized that on October 11th will be my 10-year anniversary of doing podcasts.
Wow.
Actually, I'm going to call up my buddy who was first person I interviewed was one of my high school friends.
Oh, that's what you were saying. I remember.
I'm going to reach out to him, and I think I'm going to reach out to him and see if he's available to do a interview again. So, yeah.
Lots of podcasts out there. It's just a matter of what works for you and what you get from it.
That's it.
The more you give, the more you.
What are you going to do this week?
Well, this week, I'm actually working on my own. I'm trying to set up a podcast for myself to do the same thing you're doing and doing those tips out there. I've been still doing the tips on Facebook, and I've been putting all of those in YouTube, and I've been pulling my YouTube channel together and really making it pop more and doing more things on that. I'm going to be pushing that out more and just doing more social media because it's working.
Mm-hmm.
It is working. The more I put out there, the more I'm getting impressions, the more I'm getting people and eyes on it. And then I'm going to start doing some of where you can boost a post and see if I can get even more bigger audience, because you can boost it for pretty inexpensive.
Yeah, boosting posts is just to get recognition, but you have to have a twofold thing on boosting posts. Number one, you boost it to get eyes on it. Number two, you run an ad for the people who've watched the video on something else. You understand what I mean? So just boosting the post by itself, you'll get eyes in front of it, but it doesn't have a monetary end. You've got to make a monetary end, all right? And that's one thing I got to get more people to implement when they boost the post, because boosting it by itself doesn't do anything.
Oh, and the one thing, the big goal I have for this year is we're redoing and repurposing our membership site.
Mm-hmm.
That's the e-resource hub. So we're repurposing all of that. And as a value added, we're going to be pushing that out to our clients for free, and then out to the audience that want to be a part of it. It's going to be a different price point. There'll be a monthly price point or an annual, depending on what you want to do.
Cool.
And it's very inexpensive, and it's got a ton of content in there, a ton.
Cool.
So that's something else. That's my goal, is to get that done by the end of this year and really getting that pushed out as well.
Cool.
So
all right.
Lots of stuff.
Yep. Well, that's what we're going to go do this week. Everybody else out there, tell us what you're going to do in the comments. And we'll be back here next week, won't we?
Yep.
We'll be back here next week. Yeah, we're back here next week.
Back here next week. We're going to be, can you believe it? We're going to be in October.
I know, October already.
Holy crap, the year's almost over.
I know. Yeah.
Just saying. I remember when this year started, it was like, oh my gosh, we got this, and now it's like, holy crap.
I know. It's October. I got to start planning my Christmas decorations for my new house.
Oh my God, I'll be in a new house. Finally. Finally.
All right.
Sorry.
We're gonna end today's broadcast. We're a little bit over an hour. So guys, thanks for tuning in, and enjoy your week. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye. We'll see ya.